Welcome to RemekTek Media. This is the My Gear collection of recordings in which I shall be reviewing some of the equipment that I own and use myself. None of this is sponsored or influenced by anybody. All the thoughts that I present here are my own, and I reserve the right to be wrong. I hope you find this interesting. I look forward to reading your comments below, and if you like what you see, please give me the thumbs up. My name is Paul Sillard. Let's get started. Today I'm going to share with you the results of my assessment of 4 different Bluetooth headsets to go with my iPhone 8 Plus. This is a comparison entirely of my own bat. It's not sponsored or endorsed by anybody, and I have to disclose I'm well over 50th birthday, so my hearing is not as hi-fi as a 15-year-old. So I recommend that you make your own testing and judgment based on that, but you might be interested in what I found. The results certainly surprised me, and these are the type of things which none of the other reviews I found on the web actually dealt with. So I'm comparing JBL T450BT, which is my own personal already purchased Bluetooth headset, which I paid $70 Australian, and I wanted to look at alternatives as an option. So I got the Apple AirPods, which Apple sells here in Australia for I think $230. I'm rounding up to the nearest dollar, not playing with 95s. These are the very compact and possibly easy to lose little earbuds which are wireless. The PowerBeats wireless, which is an over-the-ear wireless Bluetooth headset, and the Beats Studio 3 deluxe wireless headset. The PowerBeats 3 sells at Apple for $260 Australian, and the Beats Studio 3 is a whopping $460 Australian. I chose these 3 because they're all Apple manufactured or branded product. Apple bought Beats a while ago, and so they all incorporate the new Apple W1 chip, which is reputedly enables these devices to pair more easily with your Apple iPhone than if you didn't have those, like from a competing brand. Anyway, the Apple offers a 14-day return refund policy, and I'm using that to I bought these on Amex, and I'm going to return all or all but one, depends on what I decide. The comparison is again to my $70 JBL. So the question is, are any of these better, either in terms of sound or features, and what difference there is between the different styles. So we've got very different styles here. Right, well, I'm going to unbox these one at a time just to show you what's inside. These had already been opened, so I repacked them to show you what you get, but it's not an unsealed pack. So here we have the JBL product, which doesn't have a W chip, and it was $69.95 or $70. So just opening the pack. The headset looks like this. It folds in for more compact storage, which is nice and flat. Did not come with a pouch, which at this price point you could understand. The pads are comfortable, but it's a type of plastic that I've found previously on other products to start to flake or deteriorate after about a year of being exposed to the air. The usual expanding headband, and charging is through a USB. Where are we? Over here is a USB connector, and in the bag, in the pack, you'll find a micro USB lead. That's just standard USB to micro USB, which is used for charging. Other than that, you get instructions which are so simple to use that I never even opened the packet. It came charged about 75% charged when I picked it up from the shop, which meant that I was able to turn it on and use it immediately. Operation is very simple, like a majority of these tools. You press an on-off switch. If you hold after you pressed it, so press and hold, it will go into pairing mode, and then you pair it to your phone. I won't bother to show you, it's pretty straightforward. There are controls here for plus, minus and play, which is a plus or minus, and it does have a microphone which allows us to work as a hands-free with your phone. And that was one of the requirements for my personal decision making. I wanted a headset that I could use with my phone and be able to respond to phone calls. So I've played with this and I've used this, and that's the one I actually own. So the question was, would I get a noticeably better feature set if I spent some more money? Right, now let's have a look at the AirPods. These are revolutionary design by Apple. Let's see how that pans out. So I am aware that there are many other reviews, so I'm not going to spend an excessive amount of time. Suffice it to say, it comes in a capsule which fits into the palm of your hand, really convenient and compact, and it is very, very clever in its design from a technical point of view. As soon as you open this, you can see there is a light that comes on in the middle, and this opening the lid activates the pairing function, and it immediately shows up on your phone, and it shows you the battery level of both the container, because there's a battery in the container, and in the earpieces. So the earpieces slide out, and you put them in your ear. No need to switch them on. They can tell that they've been removed. They turn on automatically. They pair automatically. If you take one out of your ear, it will pause any music. It's absolutely incredible the way it's designed. So my concern was, will these fall out of my ear, especially if I'm doing any exercise like bicycle riding or walking on the street, and of course sound quality. In terms of convenience, I would say it's fantastic. You can buy third-party lanyards to tie these together behind your head, so if they pop out, they'll be suspended on a string or a lanyard, so you won't lose them. But that's an optional extra. They are about between $6 and $10 on Amazon or eBay, so not a big thing, but it is inconvenient that you still have to buy it. So that's the Apple. This is also made by Apple, since they bought Beat, or Beats I should say, as a company. As always, products nowadays are really nicely packaged. This lifts out. Under the flap is the extra cable, and this pulls out, and these come out. So this is the pair of headsets. They're not magnetic. They go over your ear and into your ear canal. So it goes something like that. Most likely you would put the wire behind your head, not in front, but it's up to you. And it has a inline switch for adjusting volume or answering a phone call. So this is a rocker, so if I press here, I can feel a slight movement, and here another movement, and there's a button here. It has very good battery life. On-off switch is up here. Again, with the W1 chip, pairing is very easy. And the item or the part that goes into your ear canal has a soft rubber silicone, I don't know what you'd call this, seal or grommet, and it comes with an additional choice of 3 pairs. So altogether you get 4 pairs of 4 different shapes or sizes, and hopefully one of those will give you an ideal fit. Back of this we see a patch cable for charging, and we see a soft silicone holder for carrying your phones. Just opens up and you just stick them in here, and just as convenience. Okay, so I'll put this back. Lastly, we will look at the most expensive product. I'll put this out of shot, so tidiness. This is our Beats Studio wireless headset. Absolutely beautifully packaged. Now let's talk about my experience with these products. Having looked at the prices, looked at the unboxing, what was in there, let's see how they sounded for me. The question is, as you can see, I'm well over my teen years, so my hearing is not on par with younger people, so I can only give you my opinion or my experiences. It's up to you to make up your own minds and choose what you want. But let me share with you what I have found. First off, starting with the Apple AirPods, I was very pleasantly surprised at the quality of the sound that they produced. It was acceptable, it was clear, and they didn't fall out of my ear very easily, although it is possible, the risk is always there. But I could even shake my head, I should say, and they didn't fall out. The tech is quite amazing. Next up, the PowerBeats. These give you the security of over-the-ear loop, and of course the lanyard, so they can't easily be lost. The sound quality was better than the Apple AirPods, but with both of these, because they are in-ear type speakers, if you push them into your ear, I got noticeably more bass response, and if I let go, after a while they drifted out a little bit, and the quality of the bass became less prominent. Still nice and clear, but it wasn't anywhere as loud as when you push it in. By pushing it in too much, it starts to be a little bit uncomfortable. Now with the PowerBeats, you get 5 sets of silicone seals that you can choose from. There's one that's installed and 4 more in the box. So I tried different ones, and for me, as it turned out, the one that was the default worked the best. But it does make a significant difference how good your seal is, and so if you try one out, then make sure that you pick the one that is the best. Next, I looked at the over-the-ear phones. The JBLs gave a nice balanced sound. No problem with frequency response, and of course, being over the ear, you don't need to press, or it is not affected by anything like that. When I put the Studio 3s on, it was an amazing experience. It was like stepping into nirvana. It was so comfortable. It was gentle, not pushing. It was soft. It was like sinking into a seat in a top limousine or a club leather chair. It was very, very comfortable. The sound had a very full bass response, which was a pleasure to listen to from the bass point of view. However, the high frequencies were just not there. No doubt to some degree you could compensate by turning the treble up to max, but I purposely didn't want to do that because I wanted to compare the same, I was going to say apples to apples, but this is kind of funny with apples. But I wanted to compare the same settings. So it was good bass, very clear, good volume, and also these are the only ones that have active noise cancelling, and that is unbelievable. You could be standing on the street and busy traffic, you put them on, it's like a cone of silence, instant silence except for the music. Of course, you need to be extremely careful if you're walking around wearing something like this, so you don't walk in front of oncoming traffic and get hit. But the sound, like I said, the isolation was brilliant, the comfort was brilliant, the bass was very good, high frequencies were not so good. And at that sort of price, compared to the cheapest ones, or the cheapest one, yeah, these, I find it unacceptable. Next came the microphone test. So I used the headset to make a phone call and speak to people and ask how they sounded. I then reversed the situation, so I got somebody else to wear them and I was listening, so they were speaking to me. And again, the results were surprising. The Apple AirPods were virtually unacceptable. The sound quality of the microphone was unclear, muffled and distant, and very difficult to understand. Could just be understood, but really not on par or not acceptable with the others. The cheapest JBL and the PowerBeats were very good. Both were comparable volume with each other, good clarity, good frequency response, no problem at all. The expensive Studio 3 was very soft. With the same setting on the phone, the volume was down quite significantly. You could hear it, but it was not really satisfactory. So if the receiving person was in an environment where the volume needed to be turned up a little bit, these were lacking in volume. You could not get the right volume, which was a real surprise to me because at this price point I was expecting it to be absolutely perfect. What's also surprising is that none of the reviews that I've read commented on any of these things. So I don't know whether the reviewers had a different product, or maybe my AirPods may be in substandard or quality problem, but I was not expecting this. I was expecting the expensive headset to be so good that I was struggling to scramble to get the money to buy it because it's so attractive and so desirable, and instead I find it to be unacceptable. High frequencies missing, voice for the microphone not really suitable, as well as the expensive price. That price I wanted to be perfect. So my cheapest $70 headphone is more than acceptable for situations where I want to have an over the ears headset and a band, and in situations where I might want to wear a sun hat, which in Australia is advisable, so you don't get sunburnt on the top of your bald head. The PowerBeats would make a worthy product to use. Now I believe you can buy them less pricely, less expensively from non-Apple sources, but the Apple shop has this 14-day return policy, which makes it attractive to try them out. I hope this has been of some help. If you find it useful, give me the thumbs up as usual, and I hope that you pick the right phones for you. Maybe if you have any comments or experience with any of these, please put them below. I'd like to see them, and happy hunting.